It's November 13th, 2006, and Google has just made a major purchase to acquire YouTube. And less than 1 year later, they start serving ads. And if we fast forward to 2024, quarter four, we see that YouTube and Google generated over $10 billion in revenue in that quarter alone. That's over 20x from what they paid for it back in 2007. So as you can imagine, the ROI that they've gotten from that acquisition is astronomical. They've made money hand over fist by acquiring YouTube and serving ads across that platform. But the real question is, has your company generated an ROI from YouTube ads? And the sad part is that 9 times out of 10, most companies are not able to unlock this additional area of the Google ecosystem because they just don't understand it. For some reason, you have media buyers who understand how to run meta ads or Google search ads, but they're never able to figure out YouTube ads. And as a media buyer for the last 20 years and someone who has scaled multiple businesses to over $1 million a month profitably in YouTube ads, I'm going to talk to you today about one of the most critical areas that you need to fully understand before you start scaling in YouTube ads. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand the 3 audience types that work really well for advertisers in YouTube ads and the 2 types of audiences that you should completely stay away from because all they're going to do is blow your money. So let's start with the 2 audience types that just don't work. And when I say they don't work, I mean I have tested these across multiple advertisers over the years and they're never profitable. Sure, you could get a lead or sale here and there, but you're going to pay a lot more per customer to generate that lead or sale if you attempt these 2 audience types. Now, the first audience type is very simple, and I'll keep this brief. It's broad targeting. I can't tell you how many times I've audited accounts and I see advertisers making this mistake, not only with YouTube ads, this actually also applies to demand gen and performance max, where they're just doing straight broad targeting. And somehow they expect that the algorithm is just going to do all the heavy lifting and figure it out. And it just doesn't work that way, okay, guys? You may get some initial brief success, but it's not going to be scalable. It will fizzle out very quickly. So that's the first one. Just don't do broad targeting. It doesn't work. It will not last. The second form of ads or audiences to stay away from are affinity audiences. And now we're not talking about custom affinity, we're talking about affinity, okay? Stay away from affinity audiences. They are very low intent, low buyer intent, okay? It drives a lot of junk traffic. It doesn't convert well. It's not profitable. Okay, so there you have it. I just saved you guys probably thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars by telling you that. All right, now let's move on. Let's talk about the 3 audience types that do tend to work really well. Now let's start first with retargeting. Now, of course, you probably already know that retargeting is a great thing to do, but you have to have a strategy along with it, right? So you want to think about who you're targeting, who you're retargeting, what that message is going to be. But here's the thing you need to realize, okay? You have a finite number of people in your warm audiences, all right? If you hammer them with 100 ads a day for weeks and months on end, eventually they're going to get tired of seeing you, all right? And so there tends to be a diminished return with retargeting. So the reason I'm telling you this is that retargeting does work really well, but you have to have the right mindset as far as having it as a percentage of your overall budget and not necessarily thinking unrealistically that you can just scale retargeting to the moon forever, okay? There's gonna be a point of diminished returns, and for your business, every business out there, that point is gonna be a little bit different, but you know, it's gonna need to be some percentage of your overall budget, but not the lion's share of your overall budget. Now let's talk about the second type of audience that does tend to work really well. Those are your in-market audiences, okay? These are also turnkey audiences similar to affinities, but the in-markets are how it sounds. These are people who are potentially in-market for your product or service. Now, mind you, this is not a one-size-fits-all thing, and just because you add a bunch of in-markets doesn't mean that that bunch of in-markets you add are automatically going to work. You have to test and figure out which ones are going to convert the best for your particular business, okay? You could do this as a stack, or you could do this as siloed individual audiences that you create within specific ad groups, okay? You always want to have segmentation, separation in your data so you know exactly what's really working and what's not. If you throw everything to the same pot, so to speak, let's say you create a big stack of 100 in-market audiences, that's great, but then you may not know which audiences of that stack are actually working. So that's why it can be really beneficial to segment out the different audiences into 1, 2, or 3 at a time, and then kind of figure out in the data which ones are really working for you, and then not waste money on the ones that aren't, okay? But in-markets overall can work really well. You just have to test and look at the data and figure out which ones are the best for your business. Now, the third, last but not least, I say the best for last, guys. A lot of people don't realize how effective custom audiences are for your business in YouTube, Demand Gen, and Performance Max. What is a custom audience? This is where you're going to the audience manager, you're clicking create a custom audience, and you can either enter keywords or you can enter URLs. Now, Google is going to then associate those keywords or URLs with previous historical user behavior of people who have expressed interest in those keywords, either typed them in Google in the last week or so, or have gone to those specific URLs or types of URLs like that. For example, you could put in your competitors' URLs and create an audience around that, wink, wink, okay? This can be something that can work really well. And then again, just like the end markets, you test and you figure out. And you know what happens, audiences are just like, this is a bonus tip, guys. Audiences are just like ads, okay? In the sense that there can be audience fatigue just like there can be ad fatigue, okay? So a good media buyer for YouTube ads, and this is one of the secrets that, geez, I don't even know if I really want to talk about this without charging for it, but I'm going to say it anyway. One of the secrets is you always have to be refreshing creative and refreshing your audiences. These are two of the most critical legs of the stool that you have to work on, and you have to continually refresh, test, and refine, okay? It's not about you find like that one magical ad or that one magical audience, and that ad or that audience will always work. There will be a shelf life for that ad and a shelf life for that audience, okay? Now, there may be times that you can re-enable the ad or change the ad a little bit, re-enable. I have other videos on my channel about the creative side of things that we're going to talk about, so make sure you subscribe. But for audiences, there will be times where you have to shut that audience off, okay, rest it for a little bit, then you turn it back on with a new creative, and then all of a sudden it's going to work really well again, okay? So guys, this is gold. So if you this is your reward for lasting and watching the video towards the end, because I'm giving you the best stuff right now, all right? You know, these are the things that people who have tried to manage YouTube ads, they just don't get. There's little tricks, you know, and you can't just follow what the platform tells you, because then you're just going to be blowing money, okay? The platform doesn't give a you know what about you. They just don't care. They will take your money. Case in point, 20 billion, or what was it, $10 billion of ad revenue from YouTube ads in Q4 of 2024. That's what Google produced. That's insane. That's a lot of money, right? So where is that money coming from? It's coming from advertisers like you who don't know well enough to not spend on broad targeting and affinity audiences and stuff like that. So, you know, half of that money is from advertisers just turned YouTube ads on and tried to make it work for a while and then ended up turning it off. Okay, that's probably 5 out of the $10 billion, right? So don't be part of that 5 out of the 10 billion, be part of the other 5 out of the 10 billion that's actually profitable in scaling, and follow the tips that I'm giving you, all right? So like and subscribe, guys, and I will see you on the next video.